Well, it's a Thursday. Just about. I happened to get this video ready in time for Thursday, so my next animated / illustrated YouTube, should we say story time? Story time, I guess. It's basically a story cataloging what I've learned being officially a puppy parent. It's been an interesting journey. Gonna say it's been really, really hard. I knew about the responsibility factors and whatever, but actually having a puppy of your own when you work from home every day kind of turns your life upside down. It's good overall though, but it doesn't come without its stresses and anxiety and just distraction. But I do love my precious little pup so much. He brings me so much joy. I actually saw a few people have done a cool thing to this track on TikTok, and if you want to hear it, I'll be playing at the end of the video, but you can also go check it out on TikTok. I'll put the link in the description. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, but with Kepler, because he's so expressive, he's so playful, he gets sleepy, he gets moody, he gets bitey. It's just, I wanted to combine all of those emotions in one video. He's just a ball of energy right now. And at the end where he sort of bounds towards the camera, that kind of summarizes what a cannonball of a dog he is. So it's fun. It's always fun documenting these animation process videos because a lot of people don't see the ins and outs of what it takes creating something for TikTok. I will admit, and this is something I want to cover in my future Skillshare classes, whilst there is an element of more traditional animation in this towards the end, a lot of the rest of it is what I would call cheating animation. And that doesn't make it bad, no judgment cast on it, it's just tweaking animation and finding quicker ways to do things to keep up with this ever-changing day and age. Unfortunately, it's not always strategic to spend weeks and weeks and weeks perfecting an animation when it might get seen by nobody. With the TikTok content, especially if you want to, I think, build an audience at a steady pace, you need to be putting out more and more content. And I've always got wrapped up in this problem where I've been a bit of a perfectionist. In the past, I felt like if I'm not giving it 110%, I'm failing. That's been a big hurdle in creating my video content for YouTube. I always wanted to be bigger and better with every video I put out, but I quickly realized that you just can't do it with, when it's a one-man band and you're trying to put out a 10-minute video, at least every month, or try to. You've got to make some cuts somewhere. It's been a big hurdle for me to get over, is retraining myself to not perfect, because I'll never be happy with it anyway, but just realize that I don't want to say get away with, but it's kind of, the dog is barking. I'm recording, stop. I don't want to say it's about getting away with it, but it's definitely cutting corners where it's just not necessary. Like, I'm not out to make the next Klaus as much as I would love to do something like that. I can't, and I've had to come to terms with that myself, because in my head I keep thinking, oh yeah, but you should be this good, you did a degree, you can achieve this if you have enough time and resources. But then the logical part of my brain needs to fight back and say, hey, yeah, but whether you polish this or not, it's not going to make a big difference. You need to just get stuff out there. And I've kind of proven this with the content I've put out in the past, in that some of the stuff that's taken a lot less effort but have been produced faster do better, which amazes me. But it's been like I said, big learning curve for me, realizing, okay, sometimes I really need to take a step back and appreciate what does well versus what I want, and find a balance in between. So this is what I like about TikTok is, actually you can see it in one of my previous TikTok animations that did really well. It's got 5 million views now. It's insane. But the funny thing is, the initial one, the rough drawing is the one that got 5 million views. The updated version that's more clean got 600K, which is still, we're talking amazing figures there. Oh my gosh, I didn't think anybody would see it. But isn't it surprising how the rougher stuff does better on a platform like TikTok? Because I think the appeal is having something that's achievable, something that's approachable. People like seeing the process and less polished. Even though I put a lot of effort into this particular animation, it looks very polished. And it's interesting, it might not do as well as some of the others because of its polish. I think some people pass up on it thinking, oh, this is an industry trying to promote something, or it looks, I don't want to say too good, because even I don't think it's as good as I could make it personally if I had more time. But you can see that I've sketched everything out. Okay, back onto the actual, what I'm actually doing here. You can see I've sketched everything out, timed it out with the beats of the music. What I'm doing is assessing what bits need some movement and what doesn't. Using Adobe Animate CC, you can tween the graphics. So originally I was just gonna have Kepler as a still, not even like popping in, but I realized later on that, hey, I could add a little bit of motion to this just to hit the beat a little bit better, make it more interesting and engaging. And then I started building the assets. So you can see me building his face, and maybe his eye is a separate group. Maybe I've done the ear on a different layer, the tail, the leg. It depends on which one it is in the video as to the complexity of it, but depending on what I wanted to achieve. For example, there's a section where he's kind of looking a bit moody at the camera and raising his paw. And for that one, it was only the tail and that front paw that I needed on a separate layer just to give it a little bit of motion. The one where he's sitting down, it's just his head on his body and he's nodding to the beat. The section where he's dropping down from above, I just put the ears in a different group so I could access those assets separately and just like twitch his ear as he moves in. So those bits that show very quickly, I assessed that they wouldn't need as much attention as the end, which I'll get into in a sec, because that's full frame by frame animation. But you can see I did a little bit of frame by frame with him yawning and him sleeping. I just made a loop of the Z's and just overdrew it twice or 3 times so that it's just flickering a little bit, so it gives it a little bit of motion. The drawing of Kepler himself is stationary. So you can see like how I've added bits and pieces to draw your eye to the motion where a still works fine, and sometimes I need to add more. Okay, I want to talk about the end animation section because this bit was where I had a chance to shine a little bit. Even though it's nowhere near as polished as I would have liked it to have been, I had given myself like a 5-6 hour target to get this done in a day. So I could move on to working on my video, because I thought, hey, I can use these assets in my video anyway, so it makes sense to do something fun but also have stuff to work with on my video. But I got a chance to do this frame by frame animation, and I've put a smear frame in as well. You can see where his head kind of pulls. It was really fun to do. He looks at the camera, there's a bit of anticipation, he dips down, and then there's this big sort of leap towards the camera, and it's kind of slow motion, and I put a tween in at the end because I didn't have time to add more frames, because especially if you're doing something in slow motion, it's loads more frames that you have to draw. So as you can see by the timeline, it's not all on 2s, meaning 12 frames per second. It's some of the frames are on 4, 5, 6. You can get away with it. You don't need to do full frame by frame animation. It depends what you're going for. And like I said earlier, it's something I've had to realize is that I don't need to do, even though I can with animation and doing it as a job. And this goes for anybody with a job they love. Everybody realizes that, okay, there are some things that I can do for fun, and I'll put a project aside where I'm really working on those goals. And there are other things that get me work, get me paid, or, you know, get me exposure or whatever. And it's one of those things. It's finding that middle ground of thinking, okay, what do I need to achieve? People finding this on TikTok and enjoying it, you know? Then of course I just put some backgrounds together. I just had some repeating patterns, and then I changed the color, changing between sort of a pinky color, a teal, and a purple. So yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to me rambling on. If you want to watch the entire video, it's on TikTok. Give me a follow there. Also, I'm gonna be at London Vidcon, so come and see me. It would be nice to meet you. And hopefully I can get this video done on being a papa parent in the next sort of week or so. that would be good. It's not an overly long one, but it's still requiring quite a lot of drawing. But there we go. So thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next week with another art video. Bye!